are absolutely back. And so we had to get our station break in, and we're going to start in our next section. Are you guys ready? You guys ready? You guys ready?
I'm ready.
I'm talking to you, Ernest. You ready?
Absolutely.
I know Robert will be right back with us. Jay, you ready? Listen.
I feel like there was an unanswered question from the last show.
You think so? You think it was an unanswered question? See, you know what? Curtis is messy. Curtis is messy.
No, I'm joking with you.
I should have screened you a little bit more, Curtis.
It's too late. He here now. We like him.
All right.
Oh, if I did outvoted, okay. They go that mute me. So, Curtis, did you have a point you wanted to bring from the prior section?
I do, and that was, I think, to what you had stated. At what point, in regards to, I was talking about the emasculation and just the things that the system had created, essentially. And you mentioned at what point, I'm assuming that at what point does a person get over that, or can he still continue to use that, or is that?
Okay, so there are situations where, and I'm gonna say it to you the way I said to the ladies in my group, okay? At some point, what has happened in the past can't continue to be the reason that you allow it to impact you in your present, right? The past things that have happened can be overcome because there are men in households that are raising healthy sons. The majority of what we see in our community is where they are not. But it doesn't mean that there aren't examples of people who are, okay? And I'm going to use myself as an example, okay? I did not grow up with a mother showing me how to manage my finances, okay? And Black women are among the most disenfranchised when it comes to money, when it comes to home ownership, and all of those things. But just because I wasn't taught at home, as an adult, I had to make the decision not to allow what I didn't know, what nobody showed me or taught me. I had to flip the script for my own benefit, right? There wasn't anybody that taught me as an adult how to create a budget, how to manage my money, none of that. But the reason for me to do it and make that change made me seek out the things and the education that I needed, okay? She couldn't teach me about money. She cannot teach me what she didn't know. Right? So when does a man at some point in his life see that he is headed down trauma road? Right? He's got a couple of failed relationships. He may have failed marriages. He's got all these emotions built up inside of him. He feels like everything that is going against him. At what point does he say, I need help? In my parents' day, my grandparents' day, therapy was not something that was talked about. It wasn't taught. As a matter of fact, what happened in this house, stay in this house, man up, all of those things. But today, there are full-blasted campaigns about mental health, how to get help with this, that, or the other. EAP programs through your employer, all of the things. So at what point does Brian, Jay, Ernest, Curtis, Tom, Dick, Harry, and Larry, do they step up and say, I need help?
Okay. Now, this is how I'm going to answer this one here. What I first shared with you in regards to just how the system works, that was not necessarily a cop-out. I was just sharing with you in regards to what had taken place, what was the thinking behind it, and why they did it, and as a result, it was XYZ. It had us basically as men and women, brothers and sisters, spouses, significant others. It had us fighting with each other. It had us tearing each other apart. So that was the purpose of me sharing that. So I think it's a little bit different. So the point I'm trying to make is that when we can understand that, especially for men, we're kind of wired, in most cases, wired more logically. So when we can understand that, we can then approach situations differently with love and compassion, knowing that, hey, the system done the sisters wrong, the system done the men wrong. So it was not a matter of hanging on to that and using that as leverage and saying why a man has had failed relationships or why he can't pick himself up by his bootstraps. That was not the point of that. The point of that is that, hey, if we can understand that the system does not care for any of us, it does not care for any of us. And though this is not an excuse, it makes, to me, in my kind of how my mind is wired, it makes sense to look into it on a deeper level and say, wait a minute, it's not about my sister. She's struggling with the same thing I'm struggling with. So for me, that's cause for me to get myself together so that I can pull her out.
Wonderful.
So that's what I wanted to do.
I agree and thank you for clarifying, because we don't want the audience to be confused. So thank you. So in this segment, I want to talk about fatherhood. Can we do that? Can we talk about fatherhood? And so for those of you who are fathers, how has becoming a father, or if you're thinking about fatherhood, shifted your perspective on mental health?
It was a lot. I was a stepfather for well over 12 years, my Lord. Blended family, Brian talked to it. It was a lot. You're raising someone else's child that has their own ideas and values. And as much information as you think you can pass on to that person, they still have their own values and ideas. And it messes with your head, because you think either you're not doing enough and you need to do more, or you just want to give up and like, this ain't my problem anymore. But you can't do that, because this is, again, we just talked about stereotypes, stigmatisms, and breaking the cycle. So you have to make a decision to also seek help. And it wasn't even just mental help as far as therapy is concerned. It was also help from the school. That's where IEPs and things come into play. Accepting the fact they're writing these things about your child, not to disenfranchise your child. They're trying to help you understand the parenting that was done to you, that you don't have the same problem you can't do to this child. Y'all are not the same person. They need more. So for me, parenting is accepting resources that help you. I know our pride. I know our ego. I understand that I'm a man. I got one. Without pride and ego, I understand that. But learning to accept resources was my thing. I had to understand I need the help of these other people. And raising a village doesn't mean other people around me help raising my child. It also means there's resources out there to help me understand my child. I need to accept them. And that was a big part that I had to receive in order to help raise him.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Brian?
It's ironic and wonderfully dynamic that we're having this conversation the Sunday before observed Father's Day. Okay. Now, Mother's Day was last month, and at my church, we did a major production where the men fed the women breakfast and served them and potatoed them and celebrated them and song and poem and spoken word. They were really, really appreciative. They got gifts, they got flowers, all that kind of stuff. But the running joke was, none of this happens on Father's Day. Okay, because Father's Day, fathers in general are underappreciated in this country. And fathers have often been a thankless job. It's a responsibility, but it doesn't come with a lot of, good job. No one says, thanks, Dad, for paying the lights. Okay, thanks, Dad, for doing this. You don't get that. Okay. So this particular weekend, and I did mention that I'm on vacation because I live 2.5 hours away from where most of my children are and my grandchildren are. So I traveled to where my children and grandchildren are, and we've been here for 4 days. And this weekend has been the most spiritually fulfilling time of my life. This has been the greatest Father's Day I've ever had. We celebrated Father's Day the week before because we could take the time off to get here. And I've had my children come from Maryland and come from hither and yon. My children and my nieces and nephews that wanted to show appreciation because I played a role in their rearing as well. Plus, spending all of this time with my grandchildren. So I feel spiritually and psychically fulfilled in this moment. But next week, I'm preaching a sermon on a Father's Day message. I'm a minister as well, and I'm going to preach a message. So this weekend is going to impact what I have to say about fathers. But I do know that it's critical, but often thankless.
Absolutely. I agree. Jay?
I could say that how mental health mental health has affected me as a father. I've been divorced 10 years, and at the time I had 3 children, and I took on that role as the custodial parent. And I know me, as most of us were raised up, big boy don't cry. You do something, you don't get a whooping, and so forth and so on. So it wasn't until I went on my healing journey to where I decided, like, everything that my kids do that we may deem as wrongdoing doesn't require me getting a speech or getting a belt or, whooping them. I do more now. Like, it's been that my kids, it's been years since I've laid a hand to them, and I don't see myself even doing it anymore. Like, why? It took me to that to understand, like, why am I even doing this anyway? Just because my parents did it and their parents did it. I get spirit around spoiled a child, but it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I can get what's going on with them and seeing what's wrong. Again, let's find a solution so you don't do this again. So I don't have to get the ride. Let's have this conversation first. And okay, see, like, is something really bothering you? Because children have emotions and they have feelings too. Children get tired if they're in a classroom all day for 8 hours, just like we in a work for 8 hours. They get, frustrated. They have good days and bad days. So I can understand that mental health has helped me in that area as being a father, to me, to better understand them, actually going into their world. Each of them have different personalities. So spending time with them and doing the things that they like, talking about the things that they like, certain TV shows, certain music, certain sports, certain entertainment genres, certain books, and just being more open to understand them better so I can better communicate with them on their level to be a more effective father.
It sounds like you're recognizing that you're observing more teachable moments so that you can give them a lesson that doesn't include a whooping, right?
Yeah.
Back in our day, we got whooped cross-eyed. I couldn't be looking cross-eyed at that time, but it is a different time, and having more teachable moments where you can educate them. So, and then you also present the opportunity to discover, is there something that is out of line, out of order, or is this a deeper issue than what's on the surface? Because we'd be surprised that children acting out can be a cry for help. It really can be a cry for help. So, anybody else?
I love the way that you said that too, because my kids would be the first, like, oh, here goes Dad, and we're gonna learn a lesson, But it's crazy that you said it, because that's exactly what they say.
Listen,
I think, would you want to get the lesson, or you want to catch these hands? Which one?
Right. You want the lesson in his hands, but you're gonna get something. You get to pick.
Well, I will add to that. That's how my dad was. What hurt worse than his whoopings was his lectures. And he lectured for a long time. And I said, can you just beat me? I feel better.
Exactly.
He would. And so now I'm a lecturer And,
Okay.
and I know I don't care. I can sit there for an hour and give you life lessons.
Mhm.
But I do say those life lessons for me stuck further than any whooping I probably ever got. That I was able to, grasp what they were saying as I got older. So you all are right. That's life lessons. They be life, man.
Is your dad's name David McNeill?
He might be. We might be brothers.
My dad would give these. You want to get every butt whooping that you earn, but you got to hear this talk first.
Yep.
Okay. So he would just don't spank you and spank you. You got to hear the lecture. Okay.
Yes.
That was my dad. Okay. And he would say stuff like, "Why did you do it?" And I don't know why I did it. And haven't I told you over and over and over again? Yes, you have. But you did it anyway. Yes, I did. So why did you do it? I don't know. You know how that makes me feel? Yes, I do know it makes you feel. It hurts my feelings. When you do that to your mother, how do you think it makes her feel? All it is, But
how did that make you feel? When
we would do anything to keep her. My sister Tracy, she's the closest to me in age. One day, me and Tracy were both gonna get a butt whooping, and my dad was deep into it. He was sitting down, we were standing up, we were little kids. He was deep into the lecture. Tracy couldn't stand the lecture any longer, so she tried to dive on his lap and take the whooping. Okay. She tried to, let's go ahead and get this over with. And he stood her up. Oh, no. It's not going to You got to stand and take this talk.
Well, my mother was the one handing out the tail whoopings, and she lectured why she whooped. And you
I take that. It's a little short.
The whooping lasted as long as the lecture.
That's funny.
Notice how we laugh at that, though.
Right.
Yeah, I used to before whipping. My mother was a disciplinary, so before whipping, I used to always have to use the restroom. I know you need to go in there, take a bleep. But it was just something that came upon me.
My Lord.
But we also, I have to say, just by hearing everybody laugh, we understand that correction is showing love as well.
Absolutely.
It don't feel like it when it's happening, but
it's a no doubt he loved you. But you gotta get this.
It's hindsight. And as I've told my children, it's a lot of things that won't hit you as a lesson until you have your own children.
Yes.
Oh, so that's why Mama said that. Oh, that's why she made me do that. And so it is. We'd be surprised that how we train them, how we teach them. It does come. They do remember. They do. The lesson does stick. Okay, so thank you for sharing about that. This is a yes or no question. Do you feel that you have unhealed trauma where you sit right now? Yes. Ernest, Brian, you do? Okay. Yes. Curtis?
No.
Ernest?
I do.
Jay?
No.
No? Okay. I'm going to sit in the yes category. All right. And so for those of us who admittedly say yes, I'm just going to put it out there. I ain't picking on nobody. I ain't looking at nobody. Do you fear passing down that unhealed trauma, or are you actively working to break generational cycles?
Yeah, actively working. There's no way this one I can pass down. This is definitely actively working. Exactly. I have to admit, there's no way, because it's this one's one of those things. There are some things in life that are just rarely solely on you. Not saying it haven't happened to anybody else, but that one's on you. And so actively working with the friend group that I have, the spiritual mentorship that I have, and talking to counselors all the time, they're helping me actively seek ways to overcome it. So yeah, this won't be passed down. It's something I'm not saying I personally can handle, but I got people around me that are working with me. So
yeah, I'm going to always say yes, because you want to leave room to work on something. You don't leave room for improvement. So, but there's no way the trauma that I feel is unresolved will be passed on to my children. It won't ever come up. They never heard it. They never seen it. They won't be exposed to it. That ends with me. and I'm actively working on it. I recognize what it is, actively working on it, but it won't be passed on to my children. It won't be in any fabric, any conversation, nothing. Okay.
Okay. All right. So for Curtis and Jay, if you had unhealed trauma or when you had unhealed trauma, what did you specifically do to get healed? What was that process like? In a few words. Curtis?
Okay. For me, it was, I think I stated this earlier as part of the vulnerability. It was dealing with the feelings, and responding to the feelings, and just knowing that they were there. And I think oftentimes it was for people who, maybe are dealing with certain things. And it's not even depending on how big or how small it is. It's just that ideally there's emotions that come across the wire, if you will. And when we are not dealing with those emotions and not able to sit with them, a lot of times we can get uncomfortable, and it could cause a man to find another woman, find something to drink, find something to do that's going to calm that thing what he's doing. And so I think for me it was just recognizing the emotions were there, and really just last thing here, reading my Bible. Reading my Bible, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 31. Those 5 scriptures I've been reading for the last probably almost 2 years now.
Okay. All right. Jay?
Along the same lines, like noticing that I did have traumas and seeking help to dive into what was causing them, understanding my triggers, understanding how I was going as a man. Like, we were providing, I'm working, I'm being a dad, I'm doing business, I'm in the community, I'm wearing all these different hats. I have the S on my chest, and now understanding that S and that capus was choking me. It's keeping me from being the person that take a look in the mirror and be like, am I really good? Am I really checking in with myself? So that's why I answered the question like that, because I understand now. I do have to understand that Clark Kent is really Superman. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that I do have those particular moments, I'm human, and I take time for myself, so I'm better for my kids. So they don't necessarily have to have those generational curses that were passed down from from grandpa to great grandpa to my father to their dad. So understanding that's the reason I said no, is because I take time now to think before I act, and I also take time now to understand that I'm Clark Kent, but I do have Superman moments.
I love that analogy, because I tell my community I retired my ex because it was wearing me down. It was exhausting me. And what I was finding, because as a woman, I am naturally a nurturer. And I was being there and being everything for everyone. And by the time I got around to be there for me, I didn't have anything. It took me a long time to understand when I pour into others, I should be pouring from my overflow. If I'm pouring from anything else, I'm depleting myself.
Yeah.
And so and I say that to each of you, and for those of you who are listening, get to a place and get some help if you need to, but get to a place where you learn that you pour into others from your overflow. If your cup is not full and overflowing, you cannot pour into others, because it's to your own detriment.
Can I add something to that real quick? Especially with what Mosely was saying. So, especially for those that are watching, when I was stationed at Camp Bury, we had like over 6,000 people there. And I remember I talked about grit, where mental health was. Probably maybe they had 4 to 5, maybe 6 people that visited every day out of 6,000 people. Now, do you believe those other 5,900 something people were mentally stable? Absolutely not. You have to get to a place where the only way anybody else that's watching this is going to actually understand they need help. You have to get to a place where you're uncomfortable, because a lot of people are comfortable being unstable. They're uncomfortable with issues always happening. This is always going to be me. So they don't see it as I need help. They see it as this is just the way that it is. And so I think about all those guys that were on that base that did need help, especially those African Americans or black and brown, and they just never went. And they just would sit in their barracks or play video games all day like they do now here where I'm stationed. Their mental health is video games or any kind of drug or alcohol. They don't see it as I need help, because they haven't got to a place where they're uncomfortable being uncomfortable, if you understand what I'm saying. So if you don't get to that place where you're uncomfortable, being comfortable, uncomfortable, then you're going to always think this is just the normalcy. And that normalcy is killing you. And you will pass that on to anybody that comes after you, because you're going to tell them this is just how it is, when actually this is not how it is. But you won't know how it is unless you see something healthy. I think a lot of times we know what healthy food looks like, but unless we see someone eating healthy food, do we really run after it? No, we go with the unhealthy, the quick, the microwavable. You need to see healthy and what you would look like being healthy in order to want to be healthy. If you don't see that, then that means you're going to always be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's not healthy.
That's so true.
That's a word. That's a word.
Nicole.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Uh-oh. Watch out now. Go ahead, Curtis.
Now, with all that we shared, and I'll take Ernest's approach for those who are watching and who will watch this. For the women, are you okay with dealing with a healthy man?
That man.
Listen.
Because what I've learned from experience, what I've learned from experience a lot of times is that, to what Ernest just said perfectly, what he just said, is that until a person knows what a healthy relationship looks like, and in most cases, I mean, again, almost same thing that he just said, but in a different way. But until a person knows what a healthy relationship is, because we hear a lot of times women asking, I want a man this, I want a man this, I want a man this, I want a man that. But when a man comes in healthy, he's not looking for broken women.
Oh. Yeah, ladies, did y'all hear what he said? Because I'm going to stand 10 toes down behind exactly what he said. Okay?
That's a whole different podcast, man.
Listen, bro, you good.
So
Go ahead, Curtis.
So I think that people as a whole, sometimes we can lead with our things, our assets, such as money and property and things of that nature, or we have those conversations. But in most cases, a man who is got himself together, emotionally intelligent, who has, in most cases, gone through his stuff too. Absolutely, he's gone through his stuff and he's healed and he's perhaps ready to have a relationship. And so we've learned through garnering that stability through emotional intelligence that we don't lead with those things anymore.
Yeah.
They're not necessary. And so to meet a woman who leads with that or carries herself in such a manner, a man who's emotionally stable, he spots that just like that.
He does.
And so I don't know, could that
You
be
want to ask your question?
Yeah, I would love your input.
So, a woman who has gone through her stuff, she's ready to deal with she's got to be healthy.
Absolutely.
Right? To deal with a healthy man.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's not, she will be she may be offended, because I'm not going to say this is for everybody. She may not be offended. There are some women who recognize, I'm not ready for you. Maybe once I get through. And that is a very emotionally intelligent observation of oneself.
Absolutely.
I'm not ready. You are where I want to be on the other side of this journey. Right? And so she's got to be in a place where she can admit that.
Right.
But if she's not healthy and she sees this man who comes and he checks off all the boxes, and she may try and she'll end up making things worse for herself. Right. She could absolutely potentially do more harm to him because he was healthy when he came and he tried. And all she managed to do was damage him.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's a lot of ways to answer that, but the flat, straight answer is, if she's unhealthy, he needs to run. He needs to go in the opposite direction. Now,
see, ladies, she said that. We didn't say that. She said that. Y'all heard it from y'all sister. Y'all heard it from y'all sister.
He needs to run, because I'm all for healthy relationships. Now, he could be in a mental space and emotional space where he, as a healthy man, is willing to go on that journey with her, right, while she gets healthy. It was Boris Kodjoe's character who said, not all men come to take something. Some men come to heal. Yeah. So it is very possible that the leader in him, that the man who has gotten to his emotional intelligence, he sees the potential in her.
Absolutely.
And he wants to walk that journey with her to her healing, because he knows she might still be in princess stage, but if he walks with her through that journey, there goes his queen. So that's a possibility, but he has to be stable. But I say right now, let me have a brother, a friend, and he said, she's this. Boy, put your roller skates on and go in the opposite direction. Okay, she not the one, right? Because if he's not ready to take that on, don't hurt her anymore, and don't allow her to hurt you. Yeah. So yes, ladies, if you're watching this now or catching later, I said what I said. Okay, don't blame them. And don't come for me, because I ain't giving y'all no invitation, okay? You don't want this smoke over here. I said what I said. All right?
Let me piggyback on that. Let me jump in here.
Go ahead, Brian.
Come on.
Just 2 quick points. The women who say they want a man with this, and acts like this, and this, that laundry list. If she found him, he probably won't want her, because she's not yet ready. Okay. He posed the question, are you ready for a healthy man? Before I got married to my amazing wife right now, I thought I was the stuff. I thought I was I had my stuff together, drove a nice car, had a nice place, all that. I thought I was the man. I thought I had everything together. And I was out and about, and I heard the greatest pickup line that a woman ever used on me before. Okay. And I posted about it, and this is where it's going to be just like Nicole. I was out and about, and this woman approached me. She said, she told me her name. She goes, what's your name? I says, Brian. And she goes, what's your last name? She goes, I said, McNeill. She goes, my last name's McNeill too. Your last name's McNeill? She goes, not right now, but in about 6 months it will be.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Now, I thought that was a great pickup line. Okay. So I thought that was clever. So I posted on Facebook, this is the greatest pickup line anyone's ever used on me. I posted on, and 95%, I got a lot of responses. Nicole, 95% of people saying, Brian, run. She's crazy. Don't entertain her. all of this co-signing what you just said, Nicole. I found that amazing.
And you know what? There's a guy, I don't know whose page this showed up on, but it said, women, this is how women these days show up to the first date. And it was a picture of the woman in her wedding gown.
Yeah.
So, and the reason that it was hilarious because, okay, so let's okay. Can I go there? Can I go there?
Your show.
That is dating in today's society, okay, is horrible. It's horrible, right? The pickings are slim and the prospects are slimmer, okay? Because some, the male community, we competing, not just with other women. We competing. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know about that.
Good.
Culture. I'm just saying culture again. Because if you come over here, all of them be waiting on you. Culture.
No,
I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying
oh, okay, all right. Over there. All right. Not over here.
However, because women outnumber men. Okay, women outnumber men, and so on dating sites, in the club, at the bar, and even at the nice restaurants, all of the arenas where dating could happen, it is a challenge. Okay, and so some women, not all, some women, I'll never say all, are desperate. Women are counting their biological clocks. The women have been single for a long time, so they're settling. They're reducing their 10 boxes is now down to 4.5. Okay. It's down to 4.5. Yeah, all my life I wanted bright skin, 6'2", and he needed to be buffed, and he needed to have this. Well, he could be 5'9", or he could be 5'7", or now we get down to Mickey Mouse height. All they're giving up things that they have wanted because they fear being alone. All right, they fear being alone. But men, on the other hand, they got lots of pickings. Right. And this is, let me say this conversation. It's kind of going a little bit more so than ever. Yes. Ooh, did Brian say what the old adage is, a piece of a man is better than no man? Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't cool, baby.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Watching other people, but I never learned that lesson. Okay,
Brian, you got Nicole started.
I didn't say anything. I said I've heard women say more so now than ever before they are willing to share a good man.
Yeah, no.
Well, maybe not you, but I've just heard.
So Nicole, you heard piece of a man. You said share, but you heard piece of a man.
You say tomato.
That's what she heard. She heard piece of a man.
Your mama was talking to my mama. That's what it was, and I heard the same thing. But it is coming to a season where you're getting on these apps, you're going to these places, and you're trying to figure out. This is a conversation that I keep hearing. Okay, so this is one thing. I'm gonna stay away from the other thing I heard a lot. What do you bring to the table?
Mm-hmm.
If I hear one more man ask me that, what can we veer off a little bit? Why is that a conversation?
That's a corny question.
Yeah.
Because what happens when I tell you I don't bring anything to the table? I'm the table. What the house you got for me to place the table?
Well, I think going back to your point of even Brian's point as well, that since there are more women than men, from what I've seen, when that question is asked, do you bring to the table? I've actually seen, especially with military women, they answer the question and marry him anyway, because they say, well, I bring A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. You just got to bring yourself, because they don't want to be lonely. They don't want to go through their career advancements of leveling up from, staff to tech to master alone. The worst thing I've seen is women go to retirement ceremonies and just them and the kids, and that's it. I don't want
so as bad as when we go to a wedding by ourselves, right?
Yeah, and they don't want that.
It's
They
different.
want to share experiences. So the piece of a man, I know it sounds funny, but in that respect, not even the piece of a man as far as sharing a man, but the piece of a man knowing this man is not mentally whole or stable, but they take him anyway. They take a piece of him and they marry that piece of him knowing he ain't whole. Like, I'm not talking about you didn't know he was whole. He came with holes in him, like holes and holes. But anyway, the point is, this is how he came. And you know that. And so you take him anyway, hoping that either you're going to change him because you're a healthy woman, or so you say, I'm the table and I'll put everything on the table. Just be with me, please. And then the problems happen. But I see it all the time, especially marrying men of other nationalities in these countries. I see it quick. Snatch them up quick.
So ladies, can we raise our standards, right? Can we stop putting ourselves in those situations? But that's a whole nother. Stop
putting yourself, because then you don't get to play at all.
That's okay? Right.
If
that's
you
right.
raise your standards and refuse to do any parts of it, you just out of the game altogether. Right. And that's not a good option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right, because what you won't do, the neighbor will. No, don't do that. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
You get out.
The single men I know over 50, they don't like the dating pool either. They don't like it. Okay. They desire companionship too. They'll play the game, but they don't like it either. They don't like their slim pickings either. The men I know consider slim pickings out here for a good woman. Okay, that are simple, they don't like it either.
So. You know what? When you specify a good one, I can see that. I can see that. All right. Listen, we always gotta lighten the load a little bit and lighten the mood. So again, this is a great panel. Ernest, Curtis, Brian, Jay, they bring similarities and diversity all at the same time, and I absolutely love it, and I'm very appreciative of them being here with us. So let's talk about mental health and entrepreneurship. All of these entrepreneurs sitting in front of us, I gotta ask that question. What has been the biggest mental or emotional challenge that you faced in business? And did you handle it alone or did you seek help?
I said the biggest challenge that I faced was imposter syndrome in business. That question to myself, am I good enough?
Explain what the idea of imposter syndrome is.
Questioning myself, doubting myself. Am I good enough? Who's going to listen to me? Who will buy my product or service? Will this work? So that was the biggest one that I faced. But then coming, like I said, going through the healing journey and understanding that if your business solves a problem, you'll always have a customer. Find the biggest problem you can to find a problem and answer it, and you forever have a customer. So understanding that and getting over those doubts and fears and imposter syndrome, that was my biggest one. Then understanding also that I'm here to solve somebody's problem and be a solution. So therefore, I will never have a customer. And that's all business is, just solving people's problems.
Excellent. Anybody else?
I agree with that because I'm having out here. Mine was feeling inadequate, especially with me in my family, especially being the youngest entrepreneur. Who gonna listen to me? Who wants to talk to me? I'm younger, so I haven't been around longer. So how do I convince someone older than me that I have what they need without them always bringing up my age? Because, a lot of times you do go into a lot of these meetings with a lot of people. They bring up, how old are you? I don't think you've been around long enough to, and then that becomes the whole thing. And then you hear that so many times, you're like, well, maybe I'm just not old enough. Maybe I do need to wait. Maybe I do need. Then I start looking back. Somebody told me, and this helped me. Another entrepreneur told me, he said, Well, this person started when they were 19. Well, this one invented this when they were 25. Well, this one invented this one. So they had to remind me that all these entrepreneurs or inventors were younger than 39. And I was like, oh, all right. It gave me some confidence, but it took me admitting to someone else this is what I was dealing with versus me holding it in and just feeling inadequate and just closing my business up and walking away. So I had to admit to someone that I was feeling inadequate in order to overcome that and become the success that God's allowed me to be.
Excellent. And I have to at 50, 50 yeah. The other half of the sentence, I'm on top of the half century. I have to remember that, and no, I don't look it. I thank you for that. But I have to remember that Colonel Sanders was 15 years older than where I sit today when KFC started being successful, right? There is no, I listened to this gentleman. He did a 2-minute pitch, and he opened his pitch with this question. Where is the richest place on earth?
The cemetery.
The cemetery.
Yeah,
He said because a lot of people die with their dreams.
Yep.
A lot of inventions, a lot of processes are dead in the grave. So, not over here with me. So imagine Ernest dealing with imposter syndrome as the youngest. People who are a little bit more seasoned, we will not say older, a little bit more seasoned, deal with the same thing. So it is a syndrome. Curtis and O'Brien.
I will tell you, the Bible rescued me from worrying and helped my mindset when it comes to business, because Proverbs, I teach people how to sell better. And I'm a champion at sales. And I've written 8 books on the topic. If it can be sold, it will be sold by me now. And I teach people what to say and do so they can sell themselves, which they often forget, and their services better than they ever have before, so they can earn more money than ever before. But Proverbs 11:26 heals me. It says the people wish curses upon the ones that withhold the grain. They wish blessings upon the ones that will sell it. If you have answers or solutions, that's your grain. If you have figured out something that will help someone else, that's your grain. And according to the Bible, if you won't sell it, it's clear, curse you. Because the people need it and you're being selfish with it. If you have a solution, the whole thing about the parable of the talent told in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. If you've been blessed with a talent, you're supposed to use your talent to make more money.
Absolutely.
And if you don't make money with your talent, there's penalties for that. You're going to be banished into outer courts, and you're going to be weeping in the air by hiding your talent. So that helped me a lot with the mindset when it comes to business. And then the last one was the sin of the desert parable. The sin of the desert is when you know where the water is, but you don't tell anyone else, which is the height of selfishness. So if you have answers, do you want to be selfish or not? That helped cure me in the mindset of offering and the mindset of not offering. And imposter syndrome, the way I would define it is, what if they find out I'm really just me? Okay. What if they find that I'm not Superman? What if they find out I'm really just me? But to overcome imposter syndrome, you go back to the word. Something that you have, will it bless? Will it bless somebody else? Will it help somebody else? And if the answer is yes, the Bible is clear. You are supposed to sell it. Says clearly, do business until I return. Not think about business. It says do it. That's what I want to do.
Can I just tap in on that just for one quick second?
Yeah.
That was so good. That was so good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's like, I'm about my father. And this even says I'm about my father's business, if we just technical. But going back to the men with the 3 talents, the three men with the talents. One had 5, one had 3, one had 1. And 2 of them multiplied it. And the one who didn't do nothing, as you said, he cursed them. Yeah. But in that parable, he never told them what to do with the talents. And dealing with mental health, you got to understand that they instinctively knew what God gave them. I have to do something with it.
That's good.
If our mind is not clear, if we're not looking to be creative, because it was created by a creator to be creative.
Right.
Understanding that particular principle. But I just love that, because understanding that our mental health plays such a big part, because, like I said in that parable, he never told them what to do with those talents.
What a great
Well,
but they came back, and one had 10, one had 6, and I'm sorry, I hid this one. You know what? Since you hid this one,
get out of here.
Let me get that up out of you,
and give it to the one that has the 10.
Exactly. So it's there, even that letting us know you have to do something with what he gave you.
Well, interesting enough, Jay, because I want to definitely answer the question, but just to piggyback on what you said moments ago, is that in fact the last one, if you go read the scripture, the last one, the servant who had the one talent, he actually explained to the master, sharing with the master, that he says, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, he said, I know you sow where you have not reaped, and you reap where you have not sown. So he understood it, but he didn't do what he needed to do with it. So he in fact knew what he needed to do with it, but yet the master says, well, if you understood that, why didn't you just even put it in a bank, basically,
right?
Within
At
the
least get some tax on it. But
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
a hard man. I know you're a hard man.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
I know you're this, and I know you're a hard man.
yes.
All of that, whatever. There's penalties.
Mhm.
And my answer would be that blessings are meant to be shared. That's our responsibility. That is the crux of community. If I have something or I know something that can help my fellow man, it's my responsibility, because God gave me the knowledge, the tenacity, the whatever it is. He gave it to me. My responsibility is to share with others, because history books are written so that we don't have to learn every lesson in life. You can't. But the old are supposed to teach the young. The books are there to teach us so we don't repeat history, the negative parts of it. We learn from it so that we don't have to repeat it. Right?
And that's where this we talked earlier about the safe space. Creative spaces are created in safe spaces. This is why it's very important that we create a safe space, especially those of us, those of you that are married or have someone in your life. You have to cultivate that idea that they have. Don't let that person that you say you love in a relationship with walk away feeling defeated because they had an idea and you just called it stupid. You called it dumb. And the funny thing is, I always laugh because with kids, we don't do that. Oh, that's a great idea. But with adults, for some reason, we think that we can just tell them their idea is dumb. Like, why do we do that? We want to cultivate with the younger one, but with the older one, we don't give them the same love and support because they should know better. That's not how it works. Even if the idea isn't the best of the idea for that moment, learn with love to care for the person being creative so that they don't feel. Now in the parable, the creative space was there to do something with the talent. What I'm saying is, don't us be opposite of that and we're squashing their talent that they're coming with. Safe, creative spaces are the most important thing we can give people in order for them to feel like they can even launch out, let alone prosper.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And this has been an awesomely fantastic. I don't know if awesomely is a word, but it will be for the purposes of what I need right now. That's how smart and brilliant we are. We create words for the moment. So this has been awesomely fantastic. Okay, Jay back there, he know I do that. And so what I want to do now is I want to thank you guys for being here. What we're going to do is take a station break. And then we are going to come back because we've got a couple of more questions that have been burning in my hands for me to ask. So I want to thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. And so we're going to take a station break and we'll be right back.